The testimony you will be hearing today is what the media has not been able to show you. By the end of this testimony, you will have the knowledge of what is coming and how we can prevent it. This is a testimony of a lady who died, and when she was in the other side, she was shown the virus that will soon start spreading across nations. This is why this message is very urgent for everyone. She was also told how we should be prepared in order for us to prevent it from happening. So I encourage you to listen to this testimony to the end, so that you will not miss any of this instructions that was giving. Before I share her testimony, please, I would love to know where you are listening from in the comment section, so that we can connect as a family. Also, if you have any prayer request, you can also leave it in the comments so that our prayer team will pray with you. Now relax and listen as I share her testimony with you. Hi, Daily Renewal. My name is Priya Matthews. I'm 34 years old now, though sometimes I feel like I've lived 2 lifetimes. The one before that October morning in 2023, and the one I'm living now. I grew up in Kochi, Kerala, in a household where faith was more tradition than conviction. We went to church on Sundays because that's what families did. We prayed before meals because that's what our parents taught us. I believed in God the way you believe in distant relatives you've heard about but never really known, respectfully, but without intimacy. One morning I woke up and couldn't get out of bed. First, I thought it was exhaustion. The previous week had been hectic: parent-teacher meetings, a colleague's wedding, staying up late grading papers. But this felt different. My body wasn't tired. It was failing. My limbs felt like they were filled with sand. My head pounded with a pressure that made my vision blur at the edges. My mother found me around noon. I'd managed to call her, though I don't remember doing it. She said my voice sounded strange, slurred, like I was speaking from underwater. The next hours are fractured in my memory. The bright lights of the hospital corridor, faces hovering over me, my mother's frightened voice rising and falling, someone saying my temperature was dangerously high. They ran tests. They asked questions I couldn't answer. The fever had come from nowhere, they said. My organs were beginning to shut down. I remember a doctor speaking quietly to my family in the hallway outside my room. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw my mother's face collapse. Then came the pain. I've never been good with pain. I cried once when I fell off my bicycle as a child and scraped my knee. But this was something else entirely. A fire that seemed to burn from the inside out, making every breath feel like swallowing broken glass. The doctors gave me something for it, but the relief never came. I could hear machines beeping, people moving quickly, urgent voices layering over one another. And then, very suddenly, silence. I don't know how else to describe what happened next except to say that I stepped out of my body the way you step out of a coat. One moment I was drowning in pain, and the next I was standing beside my hospital bed, watching. My body was still there, lying under white sheets, tubes, and wires everywhere. Doctors were working over me. One of them was pressing down on my chest in steady compressions. Another was calling for something. I couldn't hear what. My mother was being held back by a nurse, her face twisted in a way I'd never seen before. I watched all of this, and I felt nothing but a strange, distant calm. I tried to speak, to tell my mother I was right there, but no sound came. I reached for her shoulder, and my hand passed through like smoke. Then I noticed I wasn't looking at the room anymore. I was somewhere else. There's no vocabulary for it, really. I spent the last year trying to explain this part, and every time I fail. It wasn't a place in the way we understand places. There was light, but not from any source I could see. There was space, but no walls or horizons. It felt vast and intimate at once, like being held inside something infinite. And I wasn't alone. The angel stood in front of me, though stood doesn't feel like the right word either. He simply was present, solid, real. He wasn't what I'd imagined from Sunday school pictures. No wings, no glowing robes. He looked almost human, but there was something in his eyes that made it impossible to mistake him for anything earthly. A depth, a weight, like he'd seen the beginning of time and would see the end. When he spoke, I didn't hear sound. I felt his words inside me. Priya, just my name, but it carried everything. My whole life, every choice I'd made, every moment I'd wasted. I wanted to fall, to apologize for something I couldn't name, but he raised a hand, and peace settled over me like water. You are here because your time in the body has ended, he said. But you are also here because you must understand. Understand what? My own voice surprised me. Came without effort, without sound, just thought made real. He gestured, and somehow I saw. Not with my eyes, with something deeper. I saw the earth, turning slowly, covered in a shadow I couldn't quite name. I saw cities packed with people moving through their days unaware. I saw hospitals filling up, not just in India but everywhere. People falling sick from something invisible, something spreading. The illness that took you is not random, he said. It is one of many. When humanity is careless with what has been entrusted to them, when they treat their bodies with disregard, when they ignore what is holy, when they live as if there is no creator watching, the consequences unfold. Not as punishment, but as result. I watched people going about their lives in the vision he showed me. Eating, drinking, buying, selling, laughing at things that didn't matter, ignoring things that did. They looked so much like me, like who I'd been just days before. This is a sign, the angel continued. Not the only sign, but one among many. The earth is groaning, Priya. The time is growing short. Short for what? I asked, though part of me already knew. For the return of the king, he said simply. For the end of the age. These are the birth pains spoken of long ago. The diseases, the unrest, the confusion. They are warnings, given in mercy, so that those who have ears to hear might wake up. He paused, and the weight of his gaze settled on me. Many will not listen. They will call these things coincidence, bad luck, the random cruelty of nature. They will medicate, regulate, and move on. But they will not repent. They will not turn. Turn where? I whispered. To the one who made them. To the word that has been preached and ignored, read and set aside, diluted and redefined until it has lost its edge. His voice grew firmer, though still kind. The word of God must be preached, Priya, to as many as will listen, while there is still time. I felt something crack open inside me, a realization I didn't want. How much time? He didn't answer that directly. Instead, he showed me something else. I don't want to describe this part in detail, not because it was horrifying in the way movies make hell look, but because it was worse in its quietness. I saw people, thousands, millions, standing in a place of waiting. Not fire and demons, but absence. A terrible, crushing absence of God. They weren't screaming. They were just lost, confused. Some were angry, demanding to know why they were there. Some were silent, staring at nothing. They had lived their whole lives hearing about God, about Jesus, about salvation, and they had nodded politely and done nothing with it. Now they understood, and it was too late. I felt their regret like a physical weight. It wasn't that God was cruel. It was that they had spent their entire lives with the door open, and they had chosen not to walk through it. They had heard the warnings and called them outdated. They had heard the invitations and said, maybe later. They had seen the signs and shrugged. The angel let me see only a moment of this, but it was enough. I started to cry, not with my eyes because I had no body, but with everything I was. Please, I said. Please, I don't want. I know, he said gently. That is why you are here and not there. He waited until I could listen again. Your name is written, he said, not because of your goodness, but because of his mercy. You believed even when your belief was small, even when it was lazy and comfortable. But now you are being given something more. What? A task, he said. Your time on earth is not finished, Priya. You will return. You will be healed. And you will speak. My first feeling was relief, followed immediately by fear. Speak about what? To who? To anyone who will listen. You will tell them what you have seen. You will warn them that these days are not ordinary, that the signs are real, that the time to choose is now, not someday. He stepped closer, and I felt the full weight of his authority. You will tell them that God is patient, but patience has a limit, that mercy is extended, but it must be received, that the door is open, but it will close. They won't believe me, I said. They'll think I'm crazy. Some will, he agreed. Others will not. That is not your concern. Your concern is obedience. Speak what you have been shown. Live carefully. Walk with reverence. And urge others to do the same, not out of fear, but out of love for the one who gave everything to make a way. He placed something in my hands, not a physical object, but a responsibility. I felt it settle into me like a seed. People must understand, he said. This is not only about believing the right things. It is about living as if those things are true. It is about taking God seriously, reading His Word as if it matters, praying as if someone is listening, treating their bodies as temples, their neighbors as image bearers, their time as borrowed. He looked at me one last time. You have been given a second chance. Use it wisely. Speak while there is still daylight. And then I was falling, not through space, but through something heavier, through layers of consciousness, through the veil between that place and this one. I slammed back into my body with a violence that knocked the air from my lungs. I gasped. The machines around me erupted in sound. I heard shouts, running footsteps, my mother's voice, high and broken, calling my name. I opened my eyes to fluorescent lights and faces staring down at me in shock. She's back, someone said. She's breathing. I was alive. The fever was gone. The pain was gone. My organs, which had been failing hours before, were functioning normally. The doctors ran more tests, asked more questions. They used words like spontaneous recovery and unexplained remission. But I could see the confusion in their eyes. They had no explanation. I spent 3 more days in the hospital for observation, and then I went home. My mother cried a lot during that time. She kept touching my face like she was making sure I was real. My relatives came by with food and prayers and relief. Everyone wanted to know what had happened, how I'd survived. I didn't tell them, not at first. I was afraid they'd think I'd hallucinated, that the fever had caused some kind of delusion. Afraid they'd dismiss me, afraid they'd be right. But the weight of what I'd been told didn't go away. I tried to go back to normal. I returned to teaching. I smiled when people welcomed me back. I graded papers and attended staff meetings and pretended everything was fine. But I couldn't sleep. Every night I lay awake, remembering what I'd seen. The people in that place of waiting. The shadow spreading over the earth. The angel's words. Speak while there is still daylight. Finally, one Sunday, I stood up in church and asked if I could share something. My voice shook. My hands trembled. But I told them about the illness, the hospital, the moment I died. I told them about the angel and the warning. I told them that these diseases, these troubles we're seeing, they're not random. They're signs, reminders, mercies given to wake us up. But one woman came up to me afterward, tears streaming down her face, and said, "I've been living like I have all the time in the world. Thank you for reminding me I don't." That was the first. Since then, I've spoken wherever I'm invited, churches, homes, even street corners. I don't dress it up. I don't make it dramatic. I just tell the truth as I know it. The world is not going to go on like this forever. The end is coming not as a threat, but as a fact. Jesus is returning, and when he does, it will be too late to choose. I tell people to read the Bible like it's a love letter from the God who made them, to pray like he's actually there, to live carefully, not carelessly, to take their faith seriously and their time as the gift it is. I urge them not to ignore the warnings, not to wait until tomorrow, not to assume they'll have another chance. I tell them what the angel told me. The door is open, but it will close. I'm not special. I'm not a prophet or a preacher. I am here today to also warn to be prepared because Jesus is returning soon. All the signs we see here on earth are in the Bible. Study it and know that we do not have much time again. Let us not waste the little time we have and say we have much time. Please, if you are listening to me or watching this video, please, I want to encourage you to share this video to as many people you know. While you do that, my God will bless you. Remain faithful, remain prepared, and remain blessed. Thank you for watching. If you have been blessed by this message, please kindly like this video and subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification bell icon, so that anytime we post a new content, you will be the first to see it. God bless you.